Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Renew podcast with Kristen Andre. We are going to talk about how to reclaim your life without losing your edge. And it's November, so this month's theme is health and wellness. So to help me out this morning, I have brought in my good friend, Lisa Washington, who is a author, chef, and holistic coach. So I am so excited to have you because I work with you personally, so I know how crazy cool and talented you are. I know, so I'm excited. And you know, but with the two of us, no telling what's going to happen. But we are going to talk about how everyone can kind of reclaim that health and wellness. Because I don't know about you, but it's a tough journey sometimes. I'm in the middle of a little bit of a health and wellness crisis right now. Because anybody that knows me and my rock star are like this, right? And the entire southeastern United States, or at least Georgia, is out of the one flavor of Rockstar that I drink. And my suppliers at Quick Trip, because I've been to 7 of them now, are all out. And I walk in, they're like, hey, we still don't have a shipment. And I'm like, the fact they know me is sad. But I am drinking some other flavor that is not as good as the one flavor I drink. So I'm somewhat caffeinated. So we're just going to let health and wellness roll this morning and see what comes out of my mouth.
Yes.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. Yeah. So thank you, Lisa, for being with us. Because this is an area of opportunity for so many people, and especially this time of year, and especially at the end of 2020. So what are you seeing with like your friends, your clients, and all the people that you're helping?
I guess especially with this year, I think that the biggest thing that I'm seeing with my clients and my friends is just living in the space of uncertainty. And trying to figure out how to maneuver absolutely everything during this time. Body, mind, soul, spirit, children, careers, relationships. We're such a social beings, and just really trying to move through that. So I think that is like, how do I do this? How do I move through this mind, body, spirit, soul situation that we have going on with the world going the way that it is?
It is mind, body, spirit, because, I think of when I used to think of health and wellness, I would always think diet. Because I grew up with, sorry, Mom, if you're listening, the mom that was like, you gained 87 ounces or whatever, whatever it is. I was always hugely conscious. I was a cheerleader, that type of stuff. So I was always, everything around health and wellness to me focused around diet. But and I'll put this quote in the chat because I love it. I read something that said, your diet's not only what you eat, it's what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang around. Be mindful of the things you put into your body emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I think that's so much around the work that you do, but none of us really think of that when we think of health and wellness. We think weight or diet, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I love that quote first off, because we're always digesting something. And a lot of times what I tell with my clients is like, when they're having issues with their physical weight, I always ask them, what are you digesting mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? Because everything that you see physically is a manifestation of something that has happened within you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally.
Yes.
So health and wellness it first starts from the inside, and it manifests itself on the outside when it has been going on for a while on the inside of us. So I love that quote. It really is about what we're digesting. Like even this interaction now is a meal for our soul, for our spirits. We are all digesting something in the conversation that we're having.
But that's the part we aren't ever taught to think about. I'm extremely intentional about the people I surround myself with. As you know, I'm extremely cautious about allowing negative people to hang around for too long. But so many of us, especially now in today's, environment and politically charged environment with all the cray-cray people running around out there, people are just getting mean and negative. But that's all part of health and wellness, is making sure we're not taking in too much of that stuff.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. I really limit pretty much everything in my life. Everything in my life, it really is like this. So I went to school for holistic nutrition and medicine. So when I'm sitting with a client and we're talking about nutrition, and we're really focusing on that. We talk about what they're eating,
Yep.
and how much they're eating,
Yep.
and when they're okay. We don't even think about that at a fraction of. So, what are you eating emotionally? How much of it you're eating? When are you eating it?
Yep.
And we never think about that. But I've learned over time with just honestly getting physically sick from relationships. There's relationships I've had that have physically, because I'm chronically ill. I was born with kidney disease, which causes a lot of issues in my body. And so I've had to really think about, what am I eating, consuming in the relationships that I have? And I have to say, how much of this I'm eating. First of all, what am I eating? How much am I eating, and digesting it properly? So I think that's something that we need to focus more on. And I think it's definitely something we need to teach our children. Burgers or a cafeteria. It's not that. You don't have to take what's served to you.
And I think that's a great analogy. And we don't learn this as kids. I didn't learn this as a child, at least. I didn't learn this until a couple of years ago. I'm thinking I'm still learning. I'd say maybe it took me till probably about my 40s to get where I was like really conscious of the people I was around, what I was taking in, anything from TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, but anything from TV. I joke. That's why the only thing I watch on TV is Nicholas Sparks and Hallmark movies, because that's all good stuff. I mean, I'll throw in a Jason Bourne or John Wick occasionally just when I'm feeling sassy, but it's just making sure that I limit the negativity, because I think it's easier to go down the negative track and the just, feeding that negativity, just like it's way easier to eat a piece of pizza than it is a kale salad. I mean, I do like kale salads, but for most people, they would grab a slice of pizza, all things being equal. So it's just easier to do that.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot easier. Reason why is because it's so gratifying immediately.
That's what I was about to say. Why is that? Is it just because the immediate gratification?
What it does is that even in the brain, and this is all psychological, but in the brain, what happens is that it's a spark. Just to keep it very simple, you get more spark, you get more adrenaline rush inside of you when you're negative. She did it. She did what? And it's like this.
Yeah.
Passion.
You just want to fight somebody. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Am I the only one that wants to fight somebody occasionally when they hear Isaac's over here going, "Yep, it's just you." But it's the adrenaline rush, and I think a lot of us like the adrenaline rush. I have yet to get an adrenaline rush from the kale salad.
No, kale salads don't give you that. They just don't do that for you. Yeah.
But all right, let's think. So how can people start to make some conscious choices around this, around what they allow into their lives? Like if we're taking mental health, diet, exercise, everything. How do we switch to the positive and the good choices?
It all starts with you. And when I work with clients, I always get them go out, because what happens, we always think that the issue is outside of ourselves.
Yes. We blame other people.
We blame other people. Yep. We blame situations. We blame our environment. It starts there. And I was like, no, that's not the issue. The issue always starts with you. It's not about what's happening outside of you. And so I think the first thing you do, we have to start with ourselves first. We got to say, so what am I digesting physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually that's just not good for me? I tell you first, start physically. Like what one thing I can switch out of my diet that will help me feel a little healthier. And that's with the diet. But you take that and you apply it everywhere in your life. What conversations am I having?
Yep.
That when I walk away, I don't feel great about myself or about the conversation or anything.
And those are usually people, because like I'll say that to my clients. I'm like, if you look at your calendar and you're going, ugh, I really don't want to see this client. I really don't want to go to this meeting. Those are things that need to come off.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You look at what you're consuming physically, emotionally, mentally, and then you figure out, now, what do I need to take out? What do I need to substitute? Mm-hmm. What do I need to just stop altogether? I think if we look like that and start with ourselves first, and be very graceful to yourself first. Right. Like show some grace to yourself. Don't go cold turkey, especially when people don't know why they're making the decisions that they're making. think about why this is not healthy for me. And I think if you start there, very small, you work your way back up to it. Before you know it, you're like, you know what? I've done a cleanse. I've
Right.
done an inner and physical and mental cleanse.
And a lot of times, you know, we think of a cleanse and we always think diet, but you're right, it extends to all areas. So my rule of thumb is with people and things and business ventures and whatever, if it's not bringing me joy or moving me closer to my goals, then I need to really, it probably needs to go, but I need to really, really evaluate it. But I think that extends, like you said, to every area of your life.
Every area of your life, even your time. I would go into, I remember going to a lot of events. Remember we should do that?
Oh yeah, I know. Before, back when we could see people in person, we were out. Yeah.
Yes, click, here they come. But what I would do when I go to any event, I would check myself at the door. You got to check yourself at the door.
Okay.
First of all, I would think about what am I bringing into this space, and what have I decided that I'm going to allow into my space while I'm here.
So you're just asking yourself before you go. Like you said, check yourself at the door. I'm like, check my hair, check my shoes.
Right.
But it's, I mean, because we do that naturally. We're like, okay, hair, shoes, good, check. But we don't say, okay, what do I want to get out of this interaction?
Right, exactly. Okay. The second thing, I give myself time here. A lot of times we overextend ourselves, and then we're burnt out at the end of the day, or then that space that we're in, we're not enjoying it anymore because you've been there long. So I said, you know what, Lisa, I'm gonna give myself an hour or so in this time, and I'm gonna give everything I am in this time, and then I'm done, and I move on to what, and that's helped me to keep my sanity.
Because a lot of times we just do things and we don't really know why we're doing them. And it's all right. So Tran just commented on hi Tran, good morning, Miriam, Eric. I see all you guys watching. So Tran just commented on this. She said, well, first of all, she gave you some kudos, said you helped get her eating in check a few years ago. Hey. But she also said that she goes, she said, what you provide is good for the soul. Life is not an all you can eat buffet. Make healthy choices. And I really like that because so many of us were like, we just consume. And this is if you go, you said personally, professionally, spiritually, financially too, we become a consumer country, which is leading us into debt, which is creating all these financial challenges for a lot of people. So we're not really stopping to think, is this feeding me the right way? Is it nutritious?
Right. You're right. We're not mindful.
Yeah.
We're not mindful.
Yeah. So how do what are your tactics to get people, I'm a strategy girl. So how do people become more mindful if it's not naturally them? Because I think so many of us are a lot of us are type A and just driven and go. I've been able to get more mindful and more intentional about what I do just as I got older. But, especially if somebody's younger and they think they have to. I don't think you have to do anything. I think all of us have everything we do as a choice. And the sooner anybody can realize that in life, the better off they're going to be. But how do you advise people start to be mindful? Besides checking at the door?
Besides checking yourself at the door. I think what I do, I tell people, try meditation. Meditation is a beautiful way. It's a technique to teach you how to come down and be in your present moment.
Yep.
And kind of get you to get quiet so you can kind of hear the truth about really, because we're just, like you said, we're just going. Yeah. We're not of our going.
Yep.
And I say to a young person like I do my kids, I have one that's 34 years old and one that's 20 years old. And I said, you know what? Take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
Just stand there for a minute and just breathe in through your nose and out for just 5 breaths.
Yep.
And then ask yourself, is this something I need to do? Is this somewhere I need to be?
Yep.
If it's not something that you need to do or somewhere you need to be, then you need to move on from it and not feel obligated to be places that you don't supposed to be. So I tell people meditation, breath work, take a minute, just five breaths in and out through your, and that what it does, it realigns you back to what do I really want? What do I really want? Yeah.
And I think that's a good way, because when you first told me meditation, and you are not the first one that says, girl, you need meditation, because I am, and what's funny is when I'm by myself, I'm not all white. I'm very chill. And people don't, unless you are really close to me, people don't get to see that side of me. But everyone's like, girl, you need meditation. And my first visualization of it was like, the person sitting like this going, and singing Kumbaya. But it's not necessarily that, because I won't say it turned me off, but I'm sitting there going, that is not for me. It is too woo-woo. It's not my thing. But you open my eyes. You're like, okay, just being quiet and being still. So like if I'm sitting by myself on my couch and I just like, okay, let me just sit for a minute. Let me breathe. Should I be here? Should I do this, that? Why am I here? That type of question. That's still meditation. So I think that helped me a lot, because I thought I had to sit still and cross my legs and do this thing for 20 minutes. And I feel like a lot of people do. A lot of people that aren't as familiar with meditation feel like it's got to be this Zen thing. And for me, it's not, because I'm like, it's not my thing. But the slowing down, and I know you've had me before, this was really helpful. Sometimes I just do a brain dump. I'll get out a journal and I'll just write. I think you told me 3 minutes. 3 minutes, I just dump. Whatever's in my head, I just write. Whatever. I mean, I may throw it away later, but it's just getting things out of your head and just chilling. I mean, that's really what meditation is. Let's just take a minute to chill and be quiet and see what comes.
No, it really is about coming back home to you. It's coming back to yourself, because we're pulled in so many different directions with so many different thoughts. Everyone's thoughts, everybody's opinion is right here. But when you take a few minutes just to clear it all out, come back. That's meditation.
Sounds like a country song. I think we could write a country song. Kim Cooper's listening. I think Kim, we got to get writing a country song on this. I think we could do it.
Yes.
But it's true. I mean, it's coming back home.
It's coming home.
I like that. That's kind of it. Write that down. Let's write that down. We're gonna write some lyrics later. But I think but so, I mean, back to my question is, where are we messing this up? If it's that simple as take a minute, five breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, be quiet. Where are we messing that up? Because I think a lot of the world is messing that up.
Well, I think it is that we are driven, we are programmed as children to go, to do, to perform. We're not programmed to be, we're programmed to do. We get awarded for, we get higher in whatever we're trying to do and doing. Great job, good for, and there's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But within that consciousness, you're not teaching or training a child how to be, how to come home. It's like we even tell our kids, to go off and find your own way, but that's not really what we're doing.
Right.
That's not going with our children. And so I think what we mess it up is that we're always in this place of doing. If we're not doing, we feel like we're lazy.
Yeah.
Because society say you're lazy if you're not doing. We find I'm just unproductive today, and we beat ourselves up, and we got to figure out, I got to feel good about myself now.
Yeah.
So if you feel good, keep doing. And then that's what gets us all pulled in so many different directions, and that you have to take time out and come home and check in with yourself. But it's something that has to be taught.
Right. And you're right. We don't teach that, because there's not an award for the child that walks off on the playground and needs 5 minutes to themselves. No. What are you doing over there? Come back over here.
What's wrong with Billy?
I know. Why is Billy over there by himself? So but it's true. They don't have time to, you can't reset. I mean, I know that happens with my youngest. Like if she doesn't go off by herself, that's the only way she can reset. She can get so wound that she needs and she'll go. I mean, that's kind of what we'll say. I'm like, you need to walk away. You need to just go chill. And if she goes to a room for 5 minutes and just sits, she's good.
That's good. That's good.
One of my teenager just locks herself in the room for 5 hours, and she's pretty zen. So I think it must work.
It was she knows she
does.
She has a formula.
Yeah, she does. But it's, I feel like it's harder as an adult. So we do need to start teaching this to our children. But I feel like it's not too late for any of us. Like I said, like any age can do this.
Any age. I think the thing about it is that there's a child inside of all of us. Even when I'm working with my clients, I always get my clients to go back to that inner child. Mm-hmm. There's a child inside of all of us that needs to be nurtured all the time.
Right.
And I honor doing that for the child that's inside of me at 50. It's like, you need to nurture yourself, Lisa, and come down. And one thing, I loved my mom. She had a different way. She was very zen, but it was totally different. She dropped a lot of F-bombs in her zenning. My mom.
All right, so wait a minute. You can F-bomb zen? I'm
My
just checking in.
bombs. She was a F bombs dinner. I was
Okay.
my
Good to
would
know.
say, my mom would say, and I don't curse, but my mom would say, if I would come to my mom with an issue about someone, what they thought about me, my mom would say, tell them to kiss your A. That was my mom. That was my mom's mantra
Yeah.
in life.
I like
And
your mom.
that was quite zen,
Mm-hmm.
because her whole point was, don't be so concerned about what people are thinking, or what they care about.
Yeah.
What do you say, Lisa? What do you want to do?
Yep.
And I would say, I just want to blah, blah, blah. And she would say, well, then just go do it and tell everybody else they can kiss your ass. That was my mom.
Yeah.
But it helped me grow up not to care about what people thought about where I supposed to be.
Right.
Where do you want to be?
I think that's huge. That's so, well, first of all, that's so cool. I love that your mom did that, because a lot of times we grow up worrying what everybody else said. I mean, that was the whole premise of the book we put out, You're Not For Everyone, this summer. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you feel, what you want to do, how you want to help people, how you want to live your life. Now, I don't want you going out committing crimes and being all crazy, but if you want to do that, I also feel like you pay the consequences for your actions too. So, but we aren't raised, so few people are raised like you. Especially nowadays where we're in I'm very anti every child gets a trophy. If you've ever heard me rant about that, it's just, I feel like people need to be themselves and be allowed to be themselves, and some are going to win and some are going to lose. But just because you don't win a softball game does not mean that you're a bad human. It just may not be your thing. Or it may not be your people. But it's a good point, like allowing yourself to just check in with you and what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to teach kids this for sure, and adults.
You should, and adults. I think with, like, something you said about the trophy, we set up a definition of what something's supposed to be like, and so we all live from the premise of that definition. So when you plan a game, somebody gets a trophy, somebody doesn't, somebody loses, somebody wins. So what we're doing is, like you said, when you give everybody gets a trophy, that's not a good message that you're sending a child as an adult in so many ways. Right. So I think what you have to do is, there's a quote in one of my books that says, you cannot define what already has definition. And when I say that. Thank you. When I say that, it's like, I have already defined who I am. I don't need someone to come along and put a stamp of approval on it or redefine me. But I think that's what children, and for ourselves, is you have to figure out who you are, who God has made you, and you can't let people come along and redefine you or put new labels on that.
I love that. I just wrote that down. You cannot define what already has definition, because you're right. We were all put here. And I said that too, is like, if we were just to use our God-given strengths and we were really to focus on, okay, this is why God put me here. This is what I'm uniquely qualified to do. I use the word uniqueifier all the time. If we could all figure out, hey, this is my thing. This is why I'm here. This is what, that's why if we all just did that, we'd be a lot happier. And it is frustrating. I know it was frustrating for me to uncover that later in life. So that's why, I try to get that message out there to people. And I love when, 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds are listening, or even younger, where you're like, girl, you just got to do this. I mean, I say that to my daughter all the her uniqueifier is on point. I mean, she is unapologetic about who she is. And I love every ounce of that. Like, it's just, as we sit and look for a VW bus for her first car, but it's her. Like, she and her friends are like, people are going to make fun of you. People are going to do this. And she's like, I don't care. Like, she really, truly does not care. And I'm like, even last week, I'm like, it's homecoming. And she's like, okay. I mean, she just doesn't, but that wasn't anything. I don't think that was anything I did. I mean, I'm perfectly cool with my kids being whoever they are, but I think there was just something in her that's like, I don't need to please everybody. She wants to be, I told her, I said, my job is to raise you guys to be good humans, keep you safe and raise you to be good humans, whatever that looks like. And I think the more people that can do that, like your mom she gave you a gift by telling you not to worry about what other people think.
My mom, it's funny, my mom was amazing in doing it. And my mom was off the charts, man. She's passed away, and it'll be 18 years next February. And but she taught me so many amazing lessons. As I think about it, I think about when she passed away, and we buried her, and the story makes me a little emotional, but it makes me. He would have checked what I did. She would have said, "Lisa, I'm proud of you." Everyone wanted to go and put flowers on her grave. That's what people do, right?
Right.
You go and that's great. And I remember my sister wanted to do that, and I was like, "I'm not doing it." And she's like, "Oh my God!" And even some of my friends like, "You're not going to put flowers on your mother's grave?" And I was like, "No. Why should I? Why should I put flowers on my mom's grave? That's not where she's at. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sit in front of a beautiful ocean, and I'm gonna meditate and I'm gonna think of her."
Oh, that's what gets me all too. Gets me in my feels. Yeah.
I said things, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
And my mom loved that I didn't care.
Yeah.
Because I connected to, I came home and I said to myself, I came home and I was breathing in myself here. And I said, what will honor you? And that came to me.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I've been doing it ever since. And I would never put flowers on her grave because that does not honor her and it does not honor me. And so I think that was the greatest, act of what my mom taught me.
Yeah.
Is to align yourself with what is true, Lisa, for you.
I think that's beautiful. Because it is what feels good to you. And I feel like if we did more of but you checked it, like you said, you checked yourself first. You're like, okay, what do I need to do? Mm-hmm. And then you did that. So, and I feel like a lot of us know what we need to do. And then Eric just posted in here. He said, if we all just did what we said we're going to do, right? So we know, most of us know what we need to do. But then he said, how do we really follow through and honor that? Honor our words, honor what we say. Like, because a lot of us, I feel like you knew that I don't want to put flowers here because I feel called to do this. So how do we, to Eric's question, how do we follow through and do that and make sure we're staying with what we need as opposed to, because it's easy to think I should do this, but a lot of people get that feedback and go, ooh, okay, but maybe I'll do that later.
Well, the first thing you have to do, and this is what we're working with my clients, is if we're having issues with honoring what we know we need to do, then you got to ask yourself, why are you having issues? There isn't obviously an energetic block. There's a block there that's in the way of us not carrying through.
Yep.
Because if it's something that you know innately inside yourself, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And you're not doing it.
Yeah.
There's something energetically that's blocking that from coming through. So we have to look at what's in the way.
Block. And that could be in any area, because I know, we've been working on the energetic blocks with me, but it can be in any area. It could be professionally, it can be financially, it can be relationally, and it's tough. The energetic blocks are really, we usually know what they are. Like for me, a lot of times it's fear. It's like, but because the way my brain works, I'm a strategist. So the way my brain works is let me play this scenario out for the next 37 years and figure out every possible road this could take. And then you start going, oh, but if, and then you get, like for me, I get scared. So fear, I know, is an energetic block for a lot of people to move forward with what, to honor their follow through with their commitments, right? Yeah. What other energetic blocks are common?
The funny thing is that the only one is fear.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm not alone.
You're not alone. You're either moving from two spaces within yourself. You're either moving from fear or you're moving from love.
Okay.
The places.
Okay.
That we're moving anything that we do. Now, the energetic blocks can get very detailed.
Yeah.
Somebody's energetic block can be, I'm not enough. So that's why I'm not moving forward. And you may be a confident type of person. So I have clients that are super confident, type A personality. But when we get down to the nitty gritty of it, you just honestly feel that you're not enough. That I'm just not enough. So that, if you honestly feel that, then you will be blocking the things that you're trying to do.
Yep.
You may go this far, but you won't go that far until you start realizing that your very existence is proof that you are enough. But
and
that still goes back to fear. That still goes back to fear.
I
'Cause
feel like fear and love, that makes sense. Fear, and I think it could be different. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it could be different areas. Like I may have, like I'm a helper. I love to help people. It's my thing. And so that's moving from love. And I can do that all day long and there's no pause whatsoever. So a lot of times in business, my business surrounds around helping people. So I don't block there as much because I'm moving from love. So I guess you could have different, girl, you throw in your wisdom again. But I think you can have fear in some areas and love in the other areas. And that kind of tells you where to focus.
It does. And you got to say, what is there? Is this fear here, or is this coming from fear? Is it coming from love? Yep. If you could just do that, it instantly, the mind is so amazing. The mind has a filing cabinet, several filing cabinets. And whatever your thoughts are, the mind will say, oh, let me look and oh yeah. See, remember back in 1974 when you hit your and you're like, oh yeah, I do remember that. See, you shouldn't try that. And you're like, yeah, you're right. And so she'll refile it. But if you have,
how do we burn the file cabinet? Because I've got 87 file cabinets in the back of my head that I'm like, oh wait, yeah, you're right though. You say 1974. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I remember that. It was maybe 76, but I remember that.
I remember 1986 when that guy dumped me and told me that I was way too skinny. I need to get a little thicker. I'm like, really?
Really?
I eat donuts. Yeah.
I've not had that happen in my life. Who's the guy that says I'm too skinny? I'm going to need.
There are guys.
But you're right though. They're people think, I mean, and it's true. You can distinctly remember things people say. And it's, I wrote about that in my book. My dad one time, when I first dated my ex-husband, I like school. I was one of those nerdy kids and I like to study and I like all that type of stuff. And I love to read. And I blame Miss Gear, my third grade teacher, because and she usually watches. So if Miss Gear, that's your fault. No, I love learning. I've always loved learning. But when I met my ex-husband, his friends weren't the academic type. He's a musician. So my dad came to visit one time and he looked at me and goes, why do you dumb yourself down when you're around him and his friends? And I'd never thought, this was 1993. I distinctly remember that we were in the car. I know where we were. I could tell you what road we were on. And I still remember that conversation. So that one actually helped to the positive because now I'm extremely, maybe it went too far. I try not to dumb myself down. Like I'm very conscious of the fact I don't want to lessen myself. But he had to tell me that for me to, and had he never told me, I probably would have just done, because a lot of us do that when you're 20. You just giggle and act dumb. And it's not a good thing, girls in your 20s or 30s. It's not. So, but that's what I was doing because that's what I had learned. That's what everybody did. If you're a girl and you're 20 and you're smart, you just giggle and act dumb. So it's one of those things, but you're right. We have these file cabinets, both positive and negative.
Yep.
But how do we burn the negative file cabinet?
You know what? I would not burn the negative file cabinets.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
Because they
just quit opening it.
They serve you.
Okay.
One
fair.
Mantras that say everything serves my highest good. Every experience, negative and positive serves my highest good, because the negatives help me to say, here's where you need to grow. And here's where you don't need to come back to. Yes. You need to remember.
Yep.
The positive file cabinets, they tell me, keep going. That's right. I mean, it's good. It's all good over there.
Right.
But the negatives, they do serve my growth and where I am not. It's like, we don't want to go back there. We don't want to go back there. Or we need to say, well, what do I need to learn from there?
Right.
What do I need to learn from that? So I wouldn't burn anything. I name those.
I like that.
Her name is Natasha.
Oh no! We've talked about this.
Natasha, yeah. If your
mine's
name is
Becky.
Natasha, Becky.
Mine's Becky.
So Natasha will come up and Natasha will be like, girl, you don't have any time to do that because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and this and that. And last time you did it did not work out. And so why should it work out this time? And you know what? She can say, I got files on it too, honey. So she'll pull the files out and say, remember back in 2014?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you really blew that one.
Yeah.
And what I have to do with Natasha is like, great, thanks for pulling the file, because now that's taught me what I need to do better. Okay. Thank you. but you need to put that back in there and keep it moving.
I like that because you and I've had this conversation, so mine is Becky. So I'm good at taking the lesson from it, but I think and I am good at really doing that. I know what I want, I know what I don't want out of things, but you're right. You do have these things back, but I love the analogy and the visual because I'm such a visual learner of the file cabinet. Because, like I just need to start talking to Becky when things come up and just say, okay. And I need to be running towards my spirit animal, my fun, my spirit animal. Who is it? It's Dolly. It's Dolly. If y'all hear me talk about Dolly, Dolly's my positive. Dolly's the confident, like just get her done type of thing. Because it's Dolly. But you're right. We need to close off the Beckys or the Natashas and just say, thank you for what you taught me. Get on back in the file cabinet.
And this is the thing that we forget. We are the CEOs of our life.
Yes.
Tasha is my secretary. Yep. She's my assistant. And then my other one, my other name is Sasha. Because Sasha's spirit.
Yep.
Sasha's sassy. Sasha gets things done.
Sasha's my Dolly. Yep.
Yeah, that's your Dolly. But the thing about it, we're the CEOs of our life, and these are our secretaries, these thoughts that we have. You have got to know how to run your company properly and not let Becky or wasn't that Natasha start ruling the company and have you burning up. The whole building is burnt down because I'm listening to Natasha today.
Yep. All right. So we do have, I think this is because I love that. And I feel like we can so relate to that. So my friend Eric is on and he's saying we need some man names for his file cabinets. So I don't think Eric can be Becky and Natasha. I mean, Eric, I think you can pull off Natasha, but I think we've got to come up with some guy names. So we'll think on that, Eric. I will get you some names for your file cabinet. Because that's a good point. Because it's so easy to visualize. Like you and I've talked about the names, but when I just heard you say file cabinet, I was like, oh, I like that. Like I can picture that, and I can picture me maybe cramming some files in there and just shutting them. But it's true. I feel very great about learning the lessons of the big things that happen. But like you said, you rode a bike in 1976 and you fell off and broke your arm. Those are the little things that creep back up every so often, naturally so. But if we can manage our secretaries and figure out if it's fear, and if we're acting from fear, if we're acting from love.
Yes.
I like that.
That's it.
I like that. Miss Lisa Washington, you're always so wise.
Oh, girl, thank you kindly. It's definitely God and aligning myself with what is true. I am a truth seeker. I do not have any more time for just listening to things that are not true in my life and living from that space. I have to be a truth.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think so many of us, the sooner we can break, I hope we all get there. And the sooner we get there, it just seems like, because you're always such a light, I mean, I'm around, before COVID, I was around you more often. Yeah, we were all around, but you are. And everybody, commenting that's worked with you is like, oh yeah, I always learn so much. It's just, you've just got that wisdom, which is great. I think you must be a vampire. You're like 812 years old to have learned all this stuff, but people can learn this. I mean, the things you're saying are not difficult, but they're not easy.
Right. You're right. It's a lot of, it's work. You have to, what I did, probably one of the books I wrote was Whispers of Silence. And that book was written because it was right after my brother was murdered, my mom had died, and my grandmother had died from breast cancer within 6 months. Yeah.
And so if you don't know Lisa's story, there's a story. Yeah.
It's a story. And I had a breakdown. And I remember I had a small child and a teenager. And I remember deciding that I was going to go and do a sabbatical. Mm-hmm. Every Monday, I would be silent for 8 to 10 hours.
Yep.
And while my son he was in kindergarten, and then I pick him up, and it was like 8 hours. I would have 8 hours of that silence, and it changed my life because I learned how to hear truth again.
Yeah.
And it brought out great wisdom and convictions that I would not be shaken. I would not be moved by something that is not true.
Yeah.
And I will be. And so that really did change. That changed my life about 18 years ago. Changed my life, and it was really after my mom passed away and my brother was murdered.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be life-changing situations for anyone. Yeah. And I have read the book. I'll put the link in the things because if you guys haven't seen it, it's so it's an easy read because it is. It's just your whispers. It's what you got out of it, and they're short little snippets from your Mondays. But you read it, like, at least for me, I read it and I was like, yes, like, this is, I get this, I hear this, and but it's just stuff that we don't really think about until we sit. And you just put it all in one book, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. I read it. I was like, yes. I think it's awesome.
You.
I think it's awesome. All right. So our takeaways for everyone is we need to manage our secretaries. We need to name them. We've got our good secretary and our bad secretary. Eric, we do have a suggestion from Lynn of Kevin. I like Kevin. Kevin sounds more like the secretary that needs to go away. Kevin, that. So Kevin may be your negative, Eric. We'll think on the other one. So come up with your names of your secretaries and remember that you're the CEO of your life. I love it. Awesome. Lisa Washington, thank you so much for being with us, giving your wisdom. I am so glad. I can't wait to see you in person and hug you again.
Me too.
I know. So we will have you back, I'm sure, because believe me, there are a lot of questions on here. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back next Tuesday as we finish out our month of just renewing your health and wellness. So we will see you next Tuesday at 9 a.m. And until then, make it a great week and take care.